Hello, my name is Darren Thomas and I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some basic principles of basic instructional design. And so this is kind of based off my experience trying to support teachers to learn how to teach online. Of course, with last minute notice, as you know, there have been some interesting situations happening in terms of health and people and viruses and things like that at the time of this recording. And so I have lots of personal experience designing online courses, teaching online, but now I had to figure out, how do I explain this to people who do not have a background in education, and how do I explain it quickly and in a simple manner so that they can deploy and do things quickly and have success with online teaching. And so again, I don't want to waste a lot of time with boring theory. What I want to do first is I will show you some examples of how other people approach teaching online, and then I will show you the basic concept that I share with the teachers that I had to train so that they could deploy quickly online. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with Khan Academy here. This is, of course, a classic example of online teaching, and now what you're seeing now is, of course, the browser on a computer, but what I'm trying to point out to you will make a lot more sense if you look at this on a tablet or a cell phone. And simply, what Khan Academy does most of the time is that, they will share with you some type of content. So this is a video on probability, and then like a second video. And then, now if you're using a cell phone or a tablet, this little practice quiz right here will be right underneath the video. And so what's happening is that you have like content, and then you have an activity. And then you might have maybe 2 or 3 more content and then an activity. And so this ideal of content activity or content activity is repeated throughout all the different little units that the Khan Academy creates. And so here you can see the same ideal again. You have some content and then you have an activity, some more content, and then you're done with that particular subunit. And then again, back to this ideal content, some activity, content. And then at the end of a subunit, they have some sort of a summative assessment. In other words, this quiz number 1 here captures all of these different ideals that are found in these first 3 subunits: basic theoretical probability, probability using sample space, basic set notation. All this is covered right here. And then they repeat the process over and over again. Now we're going to come back to Khan Academy in a moment because there's some other ideas, some application of theories that we need to talk about, but not right now. What I want to do now is I want to take you over to Coursera, and this is another famous online training. And notice what this particular course is doing here. So if you click on week number 1, you can see what we have here. You have content. And this is actually an activity right here, reading the syllabus. Another activity, their external tool, content, and then an activity for reading. And so you can see right here, and again, I can show you more and more examples. But the general principle that we're starting to pick up here, without even talking about boring theory, because we don't have time for boring theory. What we're starting to notice here is the following, is that many, again, I can show you more, but we want to keep it as simple as possible. Many online sites are using a format of content, activity, along these lines. Now again, if you are more familiar with instructional design, you'll be like, Darren, where's the needs analysis? Where's the ADDIE model? Where's rapid instruction design? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, all those theoretical things are important when you have time to share those things with people. But when you're given 2 weeks notice, 3 weeks notice to put a campus online, you have to sacrifice some of those theoretical concepts because there's not enough time to explain them. There's not enough time to absorb them. You need action. And so if somebody is in a pinch and they need to get online quickly, this is what you need to share with them. Content, activity. So the teacher shares something and then the student does something. Whatever you want them to do is up to you. So a lot of times you guys know that you have the pre-recorded videos. That's going to be your content. And so your activity could be a reading. It could have them going to a website, like a link, if you will. It could be a forum. It doesn't matter. The thing is that you want to follow this flow of content, activity, so that you don't have the students sitting there hours on end listening to you talk and drone about something. One of the most common mistakes that I saw as I was working with teachers was content, 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 no activity. And so what's happening is like this. The students are getting information, but they're not able to use it. And so the thing is that once a student is exposed to new ideas, new concepts, new tools, they need to use them. And that is why you go from sharing to doing, sharing to doing, sharing to doing. The example that I shared with my teachers was you feed the baby, and then the baby plays. You feed the baby plays. You feed the baby plays. Back and forth like that. This is critical. They must use whatever you're sharing with them. And so again, it could be a reading, a website, a forum, it could be a quiz. I'm not as much of a fan of that, but that's my philosophy. That's not the point here. But they need to do something with whatever you are sharing. And one of the unique things of Coursera is that during the actual videos, oftentimes they can be interactive, in which you have to answer questions during the video. But that's kind of beyond what I want to talk about here. So it is very, very important to keep this very, very simple principle of content activity. Content activity. Now, I want to focus a little bit more on content. Teachers at the university level in particular, they're experts at lecturing. They love to talk. They love to hear their voice. And a common question that I was exposed to as I was trying to support teachers was the following. Darren, how long? How long should my videos be? That was the question. And so I made the following recommendation. Anywhere from 8 to about 15 minutes. That's about how long I believe a video should be. It could be shorter than that. It's okay. It's not a big deal. But if you wanted me to give you a ballpark figure, somewhere between 8 and 15 minutes. And so then the next question they would often ask me is, well, how do I decide between 8 versus 15 minutes? And again, without wasting a lot of time with theoretical stuff, I gave them a very practical insight. It all depends on how boring and or how interesting you are as a teacher. So here's the thing. When you are teaching online, you have to be honest with yourself and understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. Most teachers, excuse me, let me slow down. If you are a more boring teacher, your videos, your pre-recorded videos need to be shorter. Because if you keep them long, students are going to fall asleep because you're boring. That's the basic point right there. If you are a more interesting teacher, your videos can be on the longer side because you are interesting. You are able to engage and communicate with an audience. And so, in my experience, and again, we don't want to make a sweeping generalization here, most teachers are deathly, unbelievably boring. That's the bitter reality. It is not a criticism of somebody if they're a boring teacher. What you need to understand as an educator is what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. And so whenever you're trying to share and help people as an educator, you want to maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. And there's nothing wrong with being boring. But if you know that you are boring, if you know that students fall asleep when you are in class, you need to make sure that you deliver content in smaller pieces. We call this chunking. How big of a chunk you can give them has a lot to do with your personality. If you are interesting, you can give them big chunks, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Hey, if you're really good, maybe even 25, but I doubt you're that interesting. If you're not so good, if you're more on the boring side, you have to give it to them in small pieces because, you're putting them to sleep. And so you have to keep this in mind. It is not a criticism. Now, I want to explain where the ideal of 8 to 15 minutes come from. In America, and I'm sure this is most countries, but this is where I'm familiar with the most. In America, if you watch a television show, it's 8 to 10 minutes, commercial break. 8, maybe 12 minutes, commercial break. 8, 10, 12 minutes, commercial break. And so what's happening is that by the time a student gets to high school, university, they are used to paying attention for about 10 minutes at a time because the television has already trained them on that if they're watching regular television. And so because their mind is kind of geared like that from watching regular television, they expect things to come in 8, 10-minute chunks. Anything beyond that, and they begin to suffer a little bit from information overload. So you have to keep that in mind that this ideal of 8 to 15 minutes is just based off the context of the entertainment experience of many young people as they move into junior high, high school, and university studies. Even graduate students can take a break after 10-12 minutes. So you always want to keep in mind this ideal of your video should be between 8 to 15 minutes long. And so let me show you now the one place that I showed you online here. You can clearly see right here, you know, this video right here, value and data type 7 minutes, then the operators and operand 7 minutes, you know, etc. Function calls down there at the bottom, you can't quite see it, but it's 10 minutes. And so again, you know, this is what practitioners are doing. And we're not talking about the theory so much here because we don't have time for theory. We are in a situation where we have to create content quickly. And so we have to make sure that we are aware of this ideal of content activity, and that when we are making our content, our pre-recorded videos, that we keep in mind this ideal of, you know, 8 to 15 minutes at the most. You know, shorter is okay, but if they get too short, students get tired of the video starting over and over and over again. That's been my experience as an online student. And so we want to keep this in mind. Now, there are a few more things that I want to show you about the management of classes. And we're going to start with Coursera this time. Now, at the top here, let me go to the overview actually. At the top, you can see that there's a nice, beautiful progress bar here. Now again, I know that in Moodle you could definitely do a plugin for this, but I'm sure if you talk to your IT people, if you use Blackboard or Canvas or whatever, there's some sort of a way where you can put in a progress bar, because the progress bar helps students to see how they are doing in the course, how close they are to finishing. Because one of the things you lose when you are teaching online is that informal communication, being able to answer questions in the classroom, being able to have students come to you during office hours, being able to see the looks of confusion on their face, or to explain how the class is doing, you know, before you start teaching for a particular period. You know, and so the progress bar, it helps to communicate to the students and helps them to stay on track. Now, something else they have here is, you know, setting goals. I don't know if that's possible in Moodle, but I know they have competencies, but again, this might be an option for your course, for whatever system you're using. Now let's go to, like, you know, week 1 as an example here. And so we click on this. Now notice whenever I watch and complete a video, I get a green circle with a check mark telling me that I'm done. Again, I know that this is possible inside Moodle because that's the platform that I use if you set up the activities completion information. And so again, this helps to keep students on track. They can see how they're making progress. And so right here, you can see that all the way down, all these videos that I've watched, etc. Let's see how Khan Academy does this. Now you can see the same ideal. Here you have a little blue check mark, a blue circle with a check mark, and then you have a little progress bar underneath it. And so if you watch half a video, this little bar, this little blue bar, let me make this bigger for you. This little blue bar right here, this little, where are you? Okay, right here. So intuitive sense of probabilities, this little blue bar is half full. I didn't quite finish watching that video yet. And so this is how you are able to keep students on track, by having them have these little progress bars and these ideals when they've completed an activity. Now at the top here, this purple bar right here at the top, this right here is Khan Academy's progress bar here. It's based on points. And so if you look here off to the side, you can see I'm 18% done. That's how many points I got out of 1,600. It's a slightly different way. It's more of a gamification type approach to it, because Khan Academy is for K-12 and Coursera is more for adults, you know, undergrad and graduate studies. And so here the students can see how far they're going, and I level up when I get when I get to 110 points here. That's how that kind of works there. And so here you can see also if I completed a quiz. Let me see if I could. If I complete a quiz, it'll also give me some recognition. Let me turn this some recognition here. So let me just right here. So it'll tell me how I'm doing in terms of my progress. This is very, very useful for students as well. It helps them to know how they're doing. So I want to just show you this real quick. All right, here we go. So this is what I'm talking about right here. And so I know that I completed this quiz because I got all the marks there. That's what it's showing me. Now here, off to your left, This is telling me how far I've gone inside a particular subunit. Again, these are all tools for tracking progress. Very, very important for many young students, for many young people to see this. And then it kind of goes on down here. You can see how we have the quiz right here, clearly indicated as shown. And again, this is just another way of helping students to see how they're doing. You want them to always know what their progress is and how they are doing as educators. And so this is what we're trying to support right here. That's why we're doing this. And so you can see these really, really practical examples that we're using right here and how they are able to help and to support students in their learning experience. Now, something that is not quite available as much inside Moodle and inside Khan Academy and Coursera is the ability to contact the instructor directly. This is something that, of course, is a basic feature inside, I'm sure, Moodle and also other places like Canvas and Blackboard. And so when students are sending messages, it is critical that teachers respond in a timely manner, because unlike in a face-to-face situation in which students can come to you in office hours, or they can talk to you after class, or they can see you in the hallway, when they are alone out there by themselves, there's no way to just drop by. And so when they send a message, it's a call for help. It's a distress signal. Hey, what's going on? Now, the analogy that I gave for my teachers is, imagine you send an email or a communication to, your dean or, one of the administration, the VP of academics or whatever, and you don't hear from them for a week or two. Well, you're probably going to escalate the form of communication. Maybe next time you'll make a phone call, or maybe next time you will drop by their office because, hey, I need some help with this. What's going on? I cannot continue to meet my job requirements without knowing how things are going. But remember that when students are online, the ability to escalate the communication is not possible. They cannot drop by your office. They cannot just show up whenever they want because of the separation in terms of distance. And also, the requirements of not being around each other right now. And so it's also critical that you are prompt in responding to requests for information. And in connection with that, one of the benefits of Khan Academy and also Coursera, if I show you this class again, let me see right here, is that when you do the different assignments, they're graded immediately, and that provides prompt feedback. Now, in your own particular situation, unless you're doing all automated quizzes, there may be times when you have to mark assignments by manually because you want them to write something or respond to some questions you have or whatever. Now, in keeping this in mind, it is critical that you provide prompt feedback on assignments as well. This is very, very important because, again, because of the isolation, students need to know how they are doing. So if I had to summarize my 2 points here, I would say the following. I would say you need to make sure that you communicate frequently with the students, and you need to provide prompt feedback for assignments. These are hallmarks of efficient teaching. If you take an undergrad class in how to teach, these are 2 things that we cover in the first semester of the first few weeks of class: communicating and providing feedback. This is very, very important in face-to-face teaching, but it is extra important when teaching online because the A students cannot just come by your office and harass you. They need to know how they're doing, and they expect to know this. When communication and feedback is happening, what happens is that anxiety goes down because they know how they're doing, they know where they stand. And so when we're talking about communication, everything in an online class needs to be written down somewhere. Directions need to be written down somewhere. All steps need to be clearly explained and delineated. Everything has to be done because it has to be so clear that if you were gone, the students could still complete assignments. And this is something that many teachers struggle with because we rely so much on that informal communication, reading body language, providing additional clarification. But all these things cannot happen in an online course. They need to be delineated and spelled out in the beginning. Now, I just want to try to conclude or summarize what we talked about so that we can end this video. Now, the first thing, the most important thing, if you cannot remember anything else, because I don't want to bore you with a lot of theory, remember to follow the pattern of content and activity. This will save you. You can survive the semester and get through if you break up the information. If you give all content, you're gonna, stuff the baby to death. The baby needs to hear and do. They need to learn something and they need to execute how to make it work, how to use it. They need to respond to something. If you're familiar with the different taxonomies of education like Bloom's or whatever, they must digest and execute something with the content that you share with them. When you are making your content, keep in mind, 8 to 15 minutes about that. And for activities, it's really up to you. There's no limit on what you can do for activities. Forums, quizzes, links, readings, presentations, debates, whatever you want. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. I'm not here to tell you how to teach, just to give you tools. Now, in addition to that, you must think about the management of the class. Again, I hope I'm spelling this right. A little bit kind of embarrassing. Management. And when I'm talking about management, things like little check boxes for when they complete an assignment, having an activity bar, telling them how much further they have to go, etc. And also keep in mind the importance of communication and feedback. You have to stay in touch with the students. When you're dealing with a smaller class and students are not doing assignments, you got to talk to them. You got to send a message, because this kind of follow-up is how you get kids through the system. As they get older, it's not as important. So I hope that the ideas that we discussed here were clear and that you're able to understand what we were talking about here. Again, this is practical from the field experience of working with people and trying to find a simple way to get them online quickly without a lot of theory. And again, like I said earlier, for those of you who are more advanced in this, maybe you're a professional instructional designer, you may disagree with this, you may see some flaws, but again, the application of theory is always different from the actual theory, because the reality is different from the theory in many situations, and these are things that I had to use to adjust to get people online quickly. So, my name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Thank you for watching, and take care.